Would you have predicted a Latifi crash in 2021 Abu Dhabi? Potentially. I mean, at the end of the day, it was Latifi, and Latifi was known for crashing out a lot. But then would you have predicted that Lewis Hamilton would have lost that race, lost the championship? I mean, my bro was literally leading the race by 3 country miles. One hand was on the championship. Would you have gambled all your entire savings that, he's not winning that race? Instead, a young buck in Max Verstappen would. Not just the race, but the championship as well.
But the championship can only be won by one, and it's going Dutch in 2021, Max Verstappen.
I just have to say all of that because at the end of the day, predictions are predictions. If I were to say that Sirotkin is going to join Mercedes next year, it's a prediction. Is it going to be a correct prediction? Probably not. But with my in-depth analysis and my insane brain, you know, there's something called a joke. So with that rambunctiousness waffle out of the way, these are my predictions, which are probably going to be wrong, but if they're right, then I deserve an Oscar or a gold medal from the Olympics, or just hand me over the Euros trophy, because I deserve it. And put your predictions down in the comments, I'll react to them, maybe, if they're any decently funny good ones. Well, I think there's no better way to start than on an absolute bombshell. And although Red Bull have been winning every single race pretty much for the last 2 or so years, and even at the start of the year, it seemed like a quite write-off season. 22nd win in Bahrain and so on and so forth, until he wasn't winning because he was blowing up his engines. But I don't think the Red Bull are going to win the Constructors, or heck, even the drivers this year. I think the Constructors is going to go to Ferrari, and the drivers is going to go to Lando Norris. Whoa, no, you can't say that. Max Verstappen is still winning a lot of races. They're leading the championship, they're leading the drivers, they're leading the Constructors. Everything seems sorted. But let me plead my case. Before you... Keyboard warrior, oh my god, you're so incorrect. I might be incorrect. Red Bull might win all of the races that are going to happen this year. But let me just... Starting off with the Constructors, Red Bull is pretty much a single-man team. A solo dolo. Clutch powers, I work alone. But it's not like Red Bull's choice that Max Verstappen is working alone. It's just Sergio Perez is a massive anchor sinking that Red Bull rocket ship into the ground. Oh, son. Sinking that Red Bull rocket ship straight underwater into the ground. If, say, Ferrari or McLaren, they have 2 drivers who are consistently on the podium, scoring a lot of points each weekend, and Red Bull only have 1, and then there's Sergio Perez probably getting knocked out of Q1, not making it in the race because he crashes out. It's not, you know, the greatest of things for Red Bull. Not sure why did they re-sign a contract with Perez when he's literally not helping the team out whatsoever. Yay, you got a couple more t-shirt sales. Nobody cares. Realistically, it's also going to be a bit harder for Red Bull to develop the car with the amount of times that Sergio Perez is crashing. We're running the car and they have to spend money on the car.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Obviously all a slight bit of an exaggeration, but you understand. And then for the drivers, at the moment, it seems like any race win that Max Verstappen gets is, it's all his talent at the end of the day, but he's been getting a tad bit lucky. Canada, realistically, he wouldn't have won. Safety car kind of carried his race. Could say that the safety car carried Lando's race in Miami, but he won on pure pace. Monaco, he was nowhere near. Imola, Lando nearly won, and, you know, before that, I guess it was all right.
The defending champion on top, Max Verstappen wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's another Grand Prix victory. Wins from pole, the Japanese Grand Prix.
But seems like things have been going down and downhill for Max Verstappen and Red Bull, even though Max Verstappen has literally just won the last race. But hey, it's fine. Even if Max Verstappen is struggling to win races from here onwards, you guys can all still hear that Dutch anthem in the Euros, because Netherlands are playing and, you know, Dutch anthem, woo, woo, woo. But it won't be, you know, Max Verstappen standing. It'll be the Dutch lineup. I just think that Red Bull have lost that slight edge, that massive advantage that they have, and McLaren and Ferrari are developing their car much, much faster. Red Bull obviously have a fundamental issue, and I don't think that team is as synergized, as gelled together as, say, Ferrari or McLaren. But who knows? predictions are predictions. I might be totally wrong. There's a championship brewing up. Verstappen might not win, Ferrari maybe potentially are cooking, and McLaren are definitely cooking. Mercedes are in the mix, and it's just an entertaining season. If you want to see some banging racing, Verstappen not winning every single race, I think you should subscribe, otherwise Verstappen will keep on winning. Now close your ears if you're a patriotic American. You probably don't want to hear this, because you love America, America is great. We all love America, but you guys wake up with looking up at your ceiling with an American flag on the ceiling. You have a rug at the side of your bed, which is the American flag. You have on the wall in front of you, Make America Great Again. The Donald Trump cap is waiting for you on your nightstand, and it's just, Go America. But it really isn't Go America in Formula One, because the current American Formula One driver, or heck, all of the American Formula One drivers in recent history have been pretty poor. Logan Sargent, from the minimal amount of points that he scored in his hold-up, by minimal I mean 1, and the amount of crashes and damage that he's done to Williams, the car, the money, the everything. Surely over a year and a half you should be able to improve a lot. I mean, Max Verstappen, a year and a half into his Formula One journey, he was a race winner. Charles Leclerc, a year and a half into his Formula One journey, he was a 2-time race winner, and so on and so forth. Lewis Hamilton, 6 races into his career, he was a race winner. Surely Logan Sargent, you can actually do something. Yes, you're in a Williams, but anyways, on to my main point. Logan Sargent will be dropped from Williams, not by the end of the season, we're all expecting that, but mid-season, so like in what, 3-4 weeks, maybe? For none other than the youngling Kimi Antonelli. Whoa, that is so crazy. Predict, no way. Now you might be wondering, what's the point of dropping, say, a slightly experienced driver in Formula One, been in the sport for a season and a bit, for a rookie? I mean, ask Williams that, because they dropped Nicholas Latifi, who was bad enough as it is. Agreed, his stats were slightly better than Logan Sargent, because he had a couple more points than him, a couple more Q3 appearances, and of course, an assist in a championship and a race win. So there's that, at least. Placing him for Logan Sargent, who was even worse, what was the actual point? And you might be asking, what's the point of replacing Logan Sargent with Kimi Antonelli? Hasn't done a single season in Formula 3, barely has done a season in Formula 2, and putting him straight into F1? Really? Mercedes are currently scrambling for a driver, and I don't think it would be the brightest of ideas to put Kimi Antonelli in the Mercedes next year with 0 experience in Formula 1. Keep in mind that Mercedes are on a big upward trajectory at the moment from their big stumbles 2021. Oh wow, contending win, wow, win. 2022, win. 2023, podium. And then 2024 at the moment, literally nothing. 1 podium and that's it. But the trajectory is going up. And if they are potentially going to be back to being a front runner, I don't think they want a rookie in that seat or someone with a niche experience. So slotting Kimi Antonelli into that Williams seat for at least half a season, get him some experience, some get to grips with Formula 1 slightly, and the next year he can be back in that Mercedes seat and be vroom, scoring podiums and wins and yay, hindering George Russell. Do you guys know someone who's called Lewis Hamilton? Have you guys heard of him? Do you guys know of him? Maybe potentially you do.
Lewis Hamilton wins the Turkish Grand Prix and is a 7-time champion of the world.
Win after win after win after win for so many years. And on a treacherous day and a cold afternoon in Abu Dhabi, that all tumbled down. And since 2021, he hasn't won a single race. 2022. Winless. 2023, winless, and 2024 so far has been winless. But I think it's time we flip the script. He's going to Ferrari next year, and I think he doesn't want to go there with pretty poor accolades in the last couple of years. I think things are going to change. I think Lewis Hamilton is going to show George Russell how it's done, remind him of Singapore 2023, and be like, you're pretty bad. I could have won that. But no. And guess what? I'm going to show you how to actually win a race. And I think Lewis Hamilton is going to win the race this year. A race, maybe more. Who's saying that Lewis Hamilton won't win a race? Hashtag Team Lewis Hamilton are probably all hippity-happity cheering. But if he doesn't win and doesn't win in Ferrari and then retires with 7 championships, they're all going to be quite sad. Low accomplishments for the man, hasn't achieved that much, has he? Do you guys remember those days where every single race in Formula 1 in the entire calendar actually mattered? It actually meant for something. All of the points gathered were useful in the championship. In the last 2 years, that hasn't really been the case. And neither has it been the case that Abu Dhabi, or the last race of the season, has been important. Because the championship has already wrapped up by then. It's just like, okay, another race doesn't really mean much, does it? What's the point of watching? Championship's won. Boo-hoo, go to sleep, no one really cares. But the days where you'd wake up, turn on the TV, and see an absolute masterclass in the final race of the season. Not 1, not 2, 3 cars battling for the championship.
Oh, it's a Red Bull! It's a Red Bull! It's Sebastian Vettel in the middle of the track! It's the worst possible scenario for Sebastian Vettel!
The upsets for some, the joys for others. That is what Formula 1 is meant to be. And I think this year will be the revivalness of all of that. This year will be a 3-way scrap in Abu Dhabi. Max Verstappen, the king, the seasoned veteran. Lando Norris, the rookie, Lightning McQueen. And Charles Leclerc, the wild goose in Chick Hicks. Who knows? He might crash out. He might cause some carnage. But with those 3 drivers being so incredibly close throughout the entire season so far, or, well, the recent part of the season, because the start of the season was still filled with Max Verstappen, win, like, shut up, no one cares. But I believe that for the first time in a couple years, Abu Dhabi will be an absolute banger. It'll be something to fight for, and something very good to fight for, that being the championship. Of course, as I mentioned previously, I think that Lando will come out victorious. I don't know, there's some gut instinct in me that is saying that, and yes, I might be totally wrong. Max Verstappen might win the championship in Singapore, might win it in Qatar. He might win it earlier. Now, back in the day, a couple years ago, we knew Sergio Perez as being a pretty good driver. A win from 20th to 1st. Oh my god. On Red Bull's radar is actually good. Goes to Red Bull, helps Verstappen win the championship, was known as the Minister of Defense, defending just like Bob Ross painted pictures, just like, Mozart played on the keyboard, the piano. It was a beautiful symphony of driving, and back then, he was quite insane. But ever since then, it seems like he's been losing touch, losing that upper edge, the echelons, that couple milliseconds that he needs, and he's been going down and down and down. Now, yes, he has stood on the podium this year a couple times, but that was at the start of the season when Red Bull were dominating, and it was quite easy for them to step on the podium. But the second that Red Bull started to dip down in performance, Sergio Perez has been dipping down further and further. It's like Max Verstappen is, say, 10 centimeters under the water. Sergio Perez is 55 kilometers under the water drowning. And I know there are a lot of diehard Checo Perez supporters out there, so if you want to just pluck your ears for a second, ignore this section of the video. This might hurt deep into your soul. But I think that Sergio Perez will not stand on the podium anymore this year. I think he peaked at the start of the year, and so did Red Bull, but their car is obviously getting worse and worse compared to the other teams on the grid, and I think that he doesn't have that edge over, well, other drivers. I think that he is the worst of, say, the top 4 teams, and if there's 8 people who can potentially stand on the podium, I don't think there's a single possibility that Sergio Perez will be able to stand on that podium. Unless everybody's car blows up, there's a massive shunt at the start, and Sergio Perez, well, he's probably somewhere at the bottom of the field. He's still alive and he can charge forward, which probably won't happen, so I think that he won't stand on the podium. 2024, 2023, there's been like 30 races so far. Logan Sargent has outqualified Albon a total of 0 times, but somehow managed to outqualify Sergio Perez 6 times. Sergio Perez being in the fastest car on the grid, and Williams being, well, a Williams at the very, very bottom. How is that even possible? That shouldn't... What? I think we're all aware of some chap named Daniel Ricciardo. Back in the day, he was a feared opponent in any realm. He was insane. Dive bomb here, dive bomb there, podium here, podium there, race win here, upset race win there, another race win over there. That's what it all looked like. But ever since that big bad wolf of Max Verstappen entered the Red Bull organizational team, Daniel Ricciardo got a bit frightened. He was like those little three pigs. He ran away, ran to Renault, didn't find much success, ran to McLaren, found success for a single weekend, but otherwise was in the wall most of the time and probably behind Lando Norris by 2 country miles. And now in RB, it seems like he is finding minimal success. And that begs the question, what the f*** is he still doing in Formula 1? If he's not beating Yuki Tsunoda, which at the end of the day is Yuki Tsunoda, isn't the greatest of Formula 1 drivers, and Daniel Ricciardo can't beat him. Been in the sport since 2011, you should think that he probably has some experience, should be pretty good, but not at all. He's been on Top Gear, he's been asked what the rear of Lewis Hamilton's car looks like. And at the moment, people should be asking him, what does the rear of Logan Sargent's car look like? Because that's what he's seeing most of the time. With the current performances that Daniel Ricciardo is pulling out of a very, very shallow bag, I think that his time is slowly coming to an end for the second time. With that build-up out of the way, I think that Daniel Ricciardo is going to get dropped by the end of the season for none other than Liam Lawson. I think it's about time my guy gets a seat. I think that Daniel Ricciardo has had plenty races to prove himself that he still deserves to be in Formula 1, and we all know that everybody has a soft spot for him, everybody likes him, and nobody hates him except for some guy called Villeneuve.
Why is he still in F1? Why is he still in F1? Is he still in F1?
But clearly he's a bit overhyped, he's a bit old, he's not performing. Maybe go to NASCAR. That's more your type of thing. IndyCar's calling, I don't know, probably not Formula 1. It's time to hang up your boots on your own this time, because last time it was a bit embarrassing being dropped. So maybe just leave. I think we're all aware of the Logan Sargent and Kevin Magnussen masterclass. Every single race, drama. Every single race, something interesting happens. At the moment, Kevin Magnussen is on 10 super license points, and Logan Sargent is on a humble 8. Now, Perez is also on 8, but I believe that he'll be on slightly better behavior than them two. You only need 12 to have a race ban from Formula 1. It's never happened, but I believe that this year we will have 2 race bans. One for Kevin Magnussen, one for Logan Sargent. I think that the Kevin Magnussen one is much more realistic than the Logan Sargent one. His reset date on the points when, you know, they go back to Nish is 2025, whereas Logan Sargent's is 2024 September, so only a couple months away. Surely he can keep it out of the wall, keep it out of the other drivers, keep the car out of absolutely murdering someone for the next couple months. Might be a tad difficult for Logan Sargent, but I believe that he can do it. But Kevin Magnussen, on the other hand, all he needs is 2 more super license points in the next half a year-ish, so like that, and then race ban, done. You're done. You're absolutely finished. Will he be able to survive the entire season, potentially parts of next season as well, without making any contact with anyone, without making any shenanigans on the track? I'm not sure whether that's possible for him, and I think that Kevin Magnussen will have a race ban. And I think this is the only season where he has a chance to even get a race ban, because I have very slim hopes or even like thoughts of him being in the season next sport. I think Haas is going to go for a totally new lineup because Hülkenberg is leaving, and I don't think Magnussen is the greatest. So anyways, with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Down in the comments, put your own wild and wacky predictions or whatever you want to put down there. I'll react to them potentially if they're funny enough, if they're good enough. If not, you guys are all boring and yeah, that's not too good. Hope you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, otherwise you're not real. And I hope you don't die, because then you can't watch the videos and so on and so forth. Have a safe and fantastic rest of your day. Don't die. And peace.
That's all, folks.